Hello YouTubers and welcome to Pete's Kitchen Garden. I did a couple of videos last year, but they weren't very good, to be honest, so I I deleted them and vowed to sort of come back in 2016 and try and do a few more. So obviously I'm a keen gardener. We don't have an allotment. We grow everything in our back garden, but we do have a fair sized garden to be fair. So you know, we don't struggle too much for space. There's only a family of 3 of us living here at least anyway. So you know, we don't need to grow masses. The reason why I decided to start doing videos is I've been inspired by a lot of other YouTubers out there. So I'll name the sort of main ones really that have inspired me. So there's the Horticultural Channel with Sean, Vivi and Jeff. Jim's Allotment, absolutely brilliant source of information is Jim. There's Allotment Diary with Dan. I love Dan, proper straight talking Yorkshire bloke, and he likes to grow giant veg as well as a sort of bit of fun on the side. There's Muddy Boots, very good videos. Weast Allotments, guys with, you know, a lot of, you know, years of experience. There's also Mrs. Doyle's Garden, which basically, like myself, she doesn't have an allotment. I think she's going to have one soon, but at the minute she grows everything in her back garden and makes excellent use of space. So well worth checking out if you're growing in your back garden. I'm not going to spend too long on the intro. If you're watching this video, you've probably been bitten by the gardening bug or you're thinking of starting. So I don't really need to preach to the converted. Obviously, we all know we get much fresher food, much healthier food when we grow our own. There's nothing better than picking something, cooking it, and it going straight on the plate. I know people bang on about it all the time, but honestly, until you've tried it. The other thing as well is I know what's gone into my food. I tend not to use pesticides or anything like that. You know, everything I do is organic. I would only break that rule if I had something serious that was sort of really threatening the long-term health of the garden, but that's something that I would always try and avoid. The other thing really that my absolute bugbearer when it comes to buying fruit and veg from a supermarket is firstly the way it's packaged. So I will never understand why we need apples in styrofoam trays with shrink wrap around them. That's just completely beyond me. It isn't a better way of storing food, and actually having things in plastic bags, it tends to do more harm than good, to be honest, because things tend to sweat. You know, and particularly with things like apples and bananas, you know, nature gives them a perfectly good coat of skin that they have already, you know, so that can't really be improved on. The other problem I have is sometimes the quantity I have to buy things in. So the nearest place to us within walking distance, because we do drive but we don't have a vehicle at the minute, you know, if we want to buy carrots we have to buy a bag of about 25, which for 3 of us is ridiculous. You know, we probably want 3 or 4. You know, so I love the fact that we can just pick, you know, what we want when we need it. There's a lot less waste because I hate throwing food out anyway. And also I have a 7-year-old boy who, you know, he sort of comes and helps sometimes, and it's just good for him to see, you know, to understand a bit more about where his food comes from. I also absolutely love being outdoors. I've sort of done bits of gardening on and off over the years, ever since being a teenager really, but last year was the first year that I had what I would call a proper growing year. And to be honest, we had a lot of success. There were a few things that didn't go so well, but the beauty of gardening is that every year you learn something different, and you know, that's how you get better at it. Obviously, watching what other people do, something that works well for one person might not work for another. You've got different sort of climates, microclimates and things like that. So it really is about finding your own way, you know, see what other people are doing, find out what works for you. The other thing I would say, obviously, as I say, I'm not an expert gardener, so this isn't a tutorial video. This is just sort of showing you what I do. I also don't have proper filming equipment, so this is actually being filmed on an iPad. You know, I don't have editing equipment or anything like that, so to start off with, this is going to be mostly just a sort of short tour of what I've got, you know, going on around the garden. But we all have to start somewhere. So I'm just going to show you now. I'll have to turn the camera off a minute and go to a separate section, but I'm going to show you firstly what we've got going inside the house. So here we go, guys. This is the this is what we've got going off on the windowsill. So I've got some orange pepper there, yellow pepper, red pepper. Those have already been, as you can see, put into separate pots. Some more peppers next to them. I only actually wanted 6 plants, but these 4 were quite healthy, and I thought, well, look, you know, I'll pot them up, and even if I don't use them. A friend of mine, the school that her kids go to, have a sort of gardening club, so you know I can always give a few of them away. My tomatoes, now these, we've got Shirley at the front, the cordon variety, and at the back we've got Tropical Ruby. I've taken the weakest ones out. I only really have room in the polytunnel for 3 of each, so these are actually ready for potting on. I'll probably do that a little bit later today. The ones at the back there, the Tropical Ruby, the bush variety, are to be honest looking a bit leggy in comparison to the Shirleys at the front, but I'm hoping that's not going to be too much of a problem. I've taken the lid off the propagator so we can sort of have a look and see what's going off here. So we've got some lettuce at the back there. I can't remember the variety. It's written on the back of that label there, and next to it I have spring onion, Fiorio, which is a red variety. What I've done with these in the modules is I've just put sort of 5 or 6 seeds together in each one, and I'm just going to grow them in clumps together. A lot of people saying that you get pretty good results that way, and then you just put the whole module into the ground when you're ready. So we're going to give that a blast. The herbs, basil, thyme, they're already starting to come up. Rosemary and the mint, absolutely nothing yet, and I did put these in a couple of weeks ago, but maybe they just take longer to germinate. You know, you've got to be patient with gardening sometimes. Chives are just starting to come through there. I love chives. And then over the other side we have a red lettuce, which again I can't remember the variety. It is on the back of that label. I do actually write down, I sort of keep a diary, so you know, I document all the varieties and everything that I grow. And then at the back there we've got some white spring onion, white Lisbon I think they are. So that's about it for now. Those are in the propagator, but as soon as those start to germinate, I mean, I've actually got some lettuce that I've started off in the polytunnel border that are doing fine really, so I may, depending on what the weather does over the next few weeks, they may end up going out into the greenhouse. I only really use the propagator to get things germinating, to be honest, and then usually I take them out of there, but it's quite a handy thing to have. So that's it for now on the windowsill. We're going to pop outside and I'll show you what's going off in the garden.